Picture this. You're standing in the middle of Times Square. On giant screens all around you, you see the dazzling success stories, don't you? The billionaires on there, the Olympic athletes, world leaders, businesses, fantastic products. The world beams their faces into your mind, and your brain whispers, this is what the world looks like. This is normal. But here's the thing. You're not looking at reality. You're looking at the peak of the mountain. The 0.1% of the 0.1% who make it to the top. And somewhere deep in your mind, you forget that there's the other 99.999% of the mountain that even exists. That's the apex fallacy. A mental trap where we judge an entire group, an entire system by its, or even a reality, by its most successful, visible or extreme members. By the end of this episode then you'll know how the apex fallacy shapes some of our most heated societal arguments, how to spot it instantly in debates, and how to turn this awareness into personal advantage that makes you wiser, calmer, and far harder to manipulate. Think of the apex fallacy as a camera with a telephoto lens. It zooms in so close on the summit of the mountain that the valleys disappear. The trees, the obstacles. In business, it's seeing Elon Musk and assuming all entrepreneurs are rich. In politics, it's seeing a female prime minister and concluding that sexism is over. In business, it might be seeing most of the CEOs at the top being male and saying, well, we just look after males the most. In sports, it's seeing Lionel Messi and believing that every footballer lives like a king. It's an optical illusion, and when our arguments are built on illusions, they collapse. The apex fallacy then thrives because of something called the availability heuristic. Our brains assume what's most visible is most common. The media knows this. They flood our vision with the rare, the spectacular and the dramatic, and we conclude it's normal. Nobody writes articles about the average member of a group because average doesn't sell. The news feeds us the summit and our minds quietly erase the base. So what are some examples you've probably seen? Gender debates, we've said this earlier on. Men have all the power. Just look at all of the male billionaires, male CEOs and world leaders. The reality is, yes, okay, men are overrepresented at the very top, but that's the apex. If you zoomed out, you'd see that most men also dominate the bottom. Higher rates of homelessness, workplace deaths, imprisonment, suicide. If we only see the peak, we mistake the whole mountain for a palace. We extrapolate the 1% or 0.1% and assume everyone has it that easy. What about entrepreneurship? If they can do it, you can do it too. Look at Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. The reality is for every Bezos, there is 100 or thousands or millions of entrepreneurs drowning in debt, closing their doors, closing their businesses, and quietly disappearing. Studies show that most small businesses fail within 5 years. The winners are extraordinary outliers, not the rule. And by ignoring these values, we set people up for crushing disappointment and often financial ruin. What about immigration and social mobility? This country gives everyone opportunity to look at the immigrant billionaire or Nobel Prize winner. The reality is that those cases existed and they're aspiring, but they're not the majority experience. Pointing out the apex ignores barriers, inequalities, and the struggles just to get stability. It's like saying anyone can become a pro athlete. Just look at Usain Bolt, while ignoring the millions who train but don't qualify and don't have the genetic gifts. What about under wealth and inequality? The rich are just people who worked harder. Look at Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, etc. The reality is exceptional wealth often involves extraordinary factors: timing, network, access to capital, or sheer luck in some examples. If we assume everyone could get there just by working harder, we risk dismissing systematic issues and undervaluing the hard work of those who never reach the summit. Imagine a giant auditorium with 10,000 chairs. On stage there's one chair under a spotlight, and it's that chair that someone sits on who's made it. The rest of the room is in shadow. If you never turned on the lights, you'd think everyone in that room must be like the person on stage, but if the lights came on, you'd see rows upon rows of people who are nowhere near that level of success, influence or recognition. The apex fallacy is a word's refusal to turn on the light. So how can we flip it to our advantage? Well, most people get demoralised by the apex fallacy. They compare themselves to the 0.1% and feel like failures. But here's how you can make it work for you. Now that you understand this, of course, is build realistic expectations. When you know that what you see is the exception, you stop feeling behind in life. You start pacing yourself, avoiding burnout and staying in the game longer. Study the apex without worshipping it. Instead of idolising the summit dwellers, analyse them. Ask, well, which of their habits are replicable? Which results came from circumstances that can't be controlled? Then take the transferable lessons and leave the fantasy behind. Because for every author, there's not everyone's going to be, J.K. Rowling or J.R.R. Tolkien or George R.R. Martin, are they? Prepare for the valleys. When you know the path has storms, you pick rain gear. When you know business has failure rates, you build safety nets. Preparation beats blind optimism every time. So if we zoom the camera out, we're not just seeing the summit, we're seeing the crevasses, the valleys, the little scrambles, the trees, the forest that you've got to go through. Life is a mountain range, isn't it? It's the apex fallacy gives you that postcard, but not the topographical map. And here's the irony. People who actually reach the summit, they usually had the hard map. They knew about the cliffs, the streams, the slopes, and because they knew, they planned. When you see the whole mountain, you stop being seduced by illusions and start moving with strategy. This week then, whenever someone presents you with a shining example, see, anyone can do it. Stop and ask, okay, what percentage does this person really represent? What's hidden from view? What lessons can I extract without mistaking their story for a rule? This one mental pause is enough to change how you see the news, debates, and even your own ambitions. It's not saying we shouldn't aim there, it's understanding the realities of how to get there, as opposed to thinking that, if I just start a business today, I'm going to be a billionaire. If I just start my own podcast, I'm going to be the next Joe Rogan. If I write a book, I'm going to be the next Harry Potter series. It doesn't really work like that. The apex fallacy then is like staring at the tip of an iceberg and assuming it's all there. There's nothing else. The truth and the wisdom is what lies beneath the water.